आज सुबह बनते जी से बातचीत हो रही थी कि पाली में करें कि हिंदी में करें, कोई अलाउ पीपल टू चूज जो भी करना है कैसे करें। तो उस समय मैंने एक निवेदन किया था कि आफ्टर ऑल हम पाली में क्यों करना चाहते हैं। तो और ये ट्रांसलेशन जो हमने किया वो क्यों किया, उसका मुख्य उद्देश्य क्या है। मेरी समझ से उसका उद्देश्य ये है कि पाली भाषा में भगवान की ओरिजिनल, हम मानते हैं कि वो भगवान के ओरिजिनल वर्ड्स हैं, उसके ऊपर काफी रिसर्च स्कॉलर्स भी मानते हैं या दे आर द ओरिजिनल वर्ड्स ऑफ द बुद्धा एंड दे हैव अ पर्टिकुलर रिदम एंड रिदमिकल क्वालिटी एंड वो लैंग्वेज ही ऐसी है जो चैंटिंग वर्दी हो, बिकॉज वो बनाई गई है कि इसमें संगीति के लिए सहायक है वो लैंग्वेज। आप देखे होंगे उसमें वर्ड जो है सारे एंडिंग से एक जैसी हो जाती है सबकी, Yuso Bhagavato Arhan Samma Sambuddho. So you have same kind of endings and it automatically becomes very chanting worthy. But much more important than that is that when I did the translation, the whole idea was कि जो हम पाली चांट कर रहे हैं हम उसको मतलब को समझेंगे और समझ के फिर उसको चैंट करेंगे। और जब मेरे को समझ में ठीक से आ जाएगा तो मुझे पाली में ही चांट करना चाहूंगा मैं। क्यों? भगवान की ओरिजिनल वाणी है वो, और उसको चैंट करके 90% of the chantings are such that they are basically taken from suttas. They talk about practice. They talk about Buddhanusati, Dhammanusati, Sanghanusati. These are practices meant for jhanas, meant for raising concentration, meant for creating good mental states. तो अगर हमको वो सब, या जैसे मान लीजिए उदाहरण के तौर पर कहना, हम कई ग्रुप्स में हमने कई महीनों तक कहा भाई जब भी हम मिलेंगे विल सी इतिपिसो भगवान सम्मा संबुद्धो। Now the idea is that when we chant these Tiratan Vandana, as it is classically called, then we understand each and every word of it and we understand its translation. हमें मालूम है उसका मतलब क्या है, हमको उसको हिंदी में बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है, हम समझते हैं क्या होता है और उसका मतलब इतना गहन है हिंदी में कैप्चर नहीं हो पाता। हम कर देते हैं उसको ट्रांसलेशन, अपनी सहूलियत के लिए उसको ट्रांसलेट कर देते हैं ताकि बोलने में सब। तो जब हम चांट करते हैं इतिपिसो भगवा अरहन, if one has really understood the meaning of the word arhan, then it conveys something. Samma sambuddha conveys something. Vidya acharana sampanno, it is an ideal for us. Not just Buddha, it is an ideal for all of us too. हमारी विद्या और आचरण में संपन्न होना चाहिए भाई। अगर हमारी माइंडफुलनेस है, विद्या है, तो आचरण उसके अनुकूल होना चाहिए। सो वह तो हमारी गति अच्छी होनी चाहिए। We should have a proper way of walking, meditation. When you walk, we should walk properly. I mean, very simple. And we should work towards a new, better गति। हमारी गति अगले जन्म में अच्छी हो भाई, हम दुर्गति की तरफ ना जाएं, सुगति की तरफ जाएं। लोक विदु, लोक को जाने, हम भी तो जाने, लोक से हम कंटिन्यूसली इंटरेक्ट करते हैं, क्या है लोक, उसको समझे। अनुत्तरो पुरुष धम्म सारथि, that of course if that is an exquisite quality of Buddha, but as a Kalyan Mitra we should have the idea of that. What does it mean that he has the ability to change his understanding, कि वो जो आपके सामने आया है प्रश्न लेके उसके उत्तर आप उचित उत्तर दे सकें। और वो भगवान जो है, ऐसा नहीं है कि वो कह रहे हैं कि टीचर्स को होना चाहिए। अगर आपने आपको याद हो बड़ा सूत्र हमने पढ़ा था ना, जो उनका लास्ट टाइम का क्या नाम, जो
महापरिनिर्वाण,
सॉरी महापरिनिर्वाण सूत्र जो पढ़ा था ना, 60 पेज है, रेड इट ओवर हाउ मेनी मंथ्स। उसमें क्या लिखा भगवान ने, मार जब उनको आके कहता है सून आफ्टर हिज एनलाइटनमेंट कि चलो अब टाइम हो गया, एनलाइटन हो गया, अब चलो अब यहाँ क्यों लोगों को समझा के मेरे एरिया में से लोगों को और निकाल रहे हो, चलो अब आप। सॉरी, आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू गो व्हेन टिल माय भिक्षुस, भिक्षुनी, उपासक एंड उपासिकास have understood Dhamma properly, They have the ability to refute any wrong question, any questions about it, any allegations about it. So he's expecting every upasak and upasika to have that much ability कि वो धर्म को इतनी गहराई से समझें कि उसको दूसरों को समझा सकें जो उनसे क्वेश्चन करने आते हैं कि आपकी टीचिंग क्या है. This is his guideline for every upasaka. He's not saying for teachers कि जब तक ये नहीं होगा तब तक मैं नहीं जाने वाला हूँ. And only towards last, when he actually goes, the Mara comes again. अब तो ये भी हो गया बनते, अब तो ये भी हो गया. आपके लाखों शिष्य ऐसे हैं जो उपासक उपासिका हैं जो इस पे चल गए. They have gone on the path to liberation. और उनमें इतनी एबिलिटी आप जानते हैं कि वो रिफ्यूट कर सकते हैं किसी अगर कोई कॉन्ट्रडिक्टरी टीचिंग आती है. And of course, then he says, yeah, I've already decided. Don't worry, I'm leaving in 3 months. So that's a big statement. अगर आप उस सूत्र को ध्यान से इस पे रिफ्लेक्ट करें, this is what he expects from us. We are upasakas and upasikas. कि हमें इतनी समझ हो धर्म की कि हम उसको गहराई से समझ सकें. वो कैसे होगा? जब हम भगवान की प्राइमरी शिक्षा को याद करेंगे. You have to remember this. Itipiso Bhagava and all, we should remember it. Idam dukkha sadhya satcham, you should remember all of that. Jati dukkha and so on. Idam kopana bhikkhave dukkham arya satcham. Idam kopana bhikkhave dukkha samadaya arya satcham. We chant it. We should remember it. Slowly, the idea of chanting is we should remember it and know the meaning. And it will have great impact on our practice. Great impact on our practice. कहीं भी आपको भूल गए कुछ याद है, चैंटिंग कितनी की है, तुरंत याद आ जाएगा. अच्छा, भगवान कह रहे हैं यायम तन्हा पौनु भविका नंदी राग सहवता मा. तो फंस गया. देखो ये तन्हा पुनर्जन्म करती है और नंदी राग सहवता, यहाँ आनंद ले रही है, उधर उसके साथ चले जा रही है. यत्र तत्रापि नंदनी है, कभी यहाँ आ सकती है कभी वहां आ सकती है. Once you know that meaning, you understand it and you have chanted it again and again and again, it just becomes a part of you. And whenever you are confronted with difficult situation, हमारी स्थिति हमेशा थोड़ी रहती है, छूट जाती है. सडनली याद आ जाएगा, अरे भगवान ने कहा था देखो मैं किस तरह बह गया, इस तृष्णा में बह के भाग ले गई मुझे. And you suddenly recover and the whole teaching makes sense immediately. So that's the great purpose of it. So my submission, very humble request is, let us chant in Pali and Hindi and understand the meaning so that eventually we should be able to chant it in Pali. The key teachings which are there, Praticca Samutpad hai, जो चार आर्य सत्य हैं, अष्टांगिक मार्ग है, वो सब हमारे these great people have already separated them out, ताकि हम डिटेल्स में जाके चार आर्य सत्यों की देशना दी हुई है, अष्टांगिक मार्ग की देशना दी हुई है, कथम के विखवे सम्मा दिट्ठी दुखे ज्ञानम दुख समुदय ज्ञानम दुख निरोधे ज्ञानम दुख निरोध समगामिनी प्रतिपदाय. This, if you remember it, we know the teaching right away. It's available at our fingertips. दुख आया तो क्या करना है, वही चैंटिंग को याद कर लो. अच्छा ये करना है, दुखे ज्ञानम, hold on. The whole door opens immediately. Don't have to remember anything. Don't have to recall because you've done it so often. And this is what is so important really. तो हम चैंटिंग करेंगे और उसका मतलब मालूम होगा तो इसका स्वाद ही अलग हो जाएगा. It will be flavor will be entirely different. It will uplift you. Of course, it takes time, effort, but the key teachings can always be remembered, and we should remember all of us. That's a path to our practice. It's a great help in our practice. तो ये मेरा निवेदन है आपसे, आप विचार करके देखिएगा. That's what I shared with Bhanteji in the morning, and we said that I suggested that it would be good if you share it with others, and he said, yeah, we'll share it with others. If there are any comments or questions about it, you're welcome to ask.
Sir, जब हम करते हैं तो हमारे को माना कि there are mistakes, there are things which deviate or but how will we learn if we'll not, मतलब I know everyone is being patient, but improvisation will happen only if you do. If you don't do, then there is no improvisation.
Yeah, that's why practice is necessary, of course. That's why Bhanteji has taken up that task and sadhuvad to him. Yes, we should practice again and again and again. And even then we'll commit mistake, doesn't matter. Again, we find out. We find, oh, this mistake has happened. So let me be more mindful, be more mindful. It's a practice in mindfulness, actually. Reading a book is a great practice in mindfulness. Reciting is a great practice in mind. When something is being shown on screen and somebody is reading it, he has to be extremely mindful. What happens there? The word written is something and we read it something else. How does it happen? Such an interesting thing. How does it happen? Because I am not being available with that script which is written. My mind has gone somewhere else, and I'm reading what I expect should be the word there. But the writer, for example, Bhikkhu Bodhi, he writes some other word while I expect some other word should be there. So that happens. That's fine. So we keep on practicing, raising our mindfulness so that we become error-free to the extent it's possible. So there's nothing wrong in committing a mistake. Obviously not, no question. But obviously we should practice. That is important. We shouldn't, as Bhanteji has been saying again and again, this is a public forum. And we are recording it, all of that. So there is a factor of people listening to it and trying to understand how good we are in trying to follow the tradition and in following the sanctity of the words. There are some people who have that kind of a understanding. So when we progressively improve, it gives a good feeling, extremely good feeling. We started with something, now slowly, our chanting is improving. So I get really good feeling. I feel so happy about it. Even if some people commit mistake, doesn't matter. We keep on learning. The issue is learning till we become. The chanting is a big. People spend years in doing chanting, and all of our Indian tradition, not just Buddhist teaching, has been oral tradition. They've all remembered. Vedas are all orally transmitted from one generation to another for 5,000 years. This has been transmitted for 2,500 years, like that. Even now, there are people in Burma who know the entire Tipitaka by heart. There are at least 2 people. So they have a great value. You may say, "Yaar, kya kar rahe hain? Sara jeevan kharab kar rahe hain." Yeah, you can say, but they're earning enormous merits. They're earning enormous merit because it is because of that tradition that we could get it here now. Otherwise, kaise hota? Khatam ho jata sab kuch. So we have to see that, we have to see the value of that. Those people who are really done such a remarkable job, सारा लाइफ इन्होंने इसी में डेडिकेट कर दिया कि मुझे याद रखना है. क्यों? क्योंकि मेरे टीचर ने कहा अगले जनरेशन को कैसे जाएगा, मैं तो मर रहा हूँ, तू तैयार हो जा, अगली जनरेशन को देना है. It looks like a very stupid thing in today to people. But remember, all this that is what has survived. All the Sangha has survived for us. The survival of the Sangha is associated with survival of the Dhamma, otherwise it would have been finished. The way the whole Sangha ended from India, there were people abroad who tried to remember it. And so we must every day both 3 times to them, all the tradition who have given us teaching. Kahan se aati hai? Khatam ho gayi, finished. Everything would have been finished. So these people who did such kind of things, great gratitude to them, enormous gratitude to them. So I was telling to Bhanteji, there's a sutta, which is very prominent sutta, probably the last sutta of the Nikaya. Translated to 60 pages, A4 size. I made wrote it on, I thought I'll make it a part of our appendix, but I have given up. It's 60 pages. But it actually contains the entire teaching of the Buddha. Imagine that. There's nothing left out. No concept is left out. It's not given full reading, but conceptually everything is included, all concepts. See, there's such a beautiful discourse. Buddha is giving talk to the householders and bhikkhus. The talk is not mentioned. And then he's tired. He says, Sariputta, I'm tired. And he dismisses them. He says, go. So all the householders go, but bhikkhus continue to stay. So Buddha sees, बैठे हुए हैं अभी भी. So he tells Sariputta, I am tired, I am lying down. And the word he uses is, the Bhikkhu Sangha is alert. It's not drowsy still. So please, come on, give them a good talk. And what does he do? He says, Bhante, this has happened. Immediately before that, there was a kind of dispersion of the Jain Sangha, because after the passing away of the leader, there were bitter fights. He said, this is what he taught. Somebody said, this is what he taught. Somebody said, no, this is what he taught. And there was a complete kind of disarray in the whole Sangha, which was a forerunner of the Buddhist Sangha. So they were all very much upset that such a thing should have happened. So in fact, in that sutta he says, Bhante, this is what has happened. And the reason is that they don't have that tradition of conventional recitation of the teachings. So I am going to, with your permission, going to say the entire concept of Buddha's teachings and put them down. Maybe he puts them ones, twos, threes, that's typical order as you find in Therigatha or Therigatha. Ones means one word, each as a concept. There's hundreds of them. Then twos like Nam Rupa, things of that kind. Compares which are there. Then threes, then four, then five, up to tens, and that's it. So virtually, when I saw that, many of the things I had not heard actually. Many of the concepts, but he says this is all the summary of all what you have taught. And only Sariputta can do that. Huge thing. And he says, this is what you should chant frequently. This is what the whole Bhikkhu Sangha should chant frequently, so as to ensure that the Buddha's teachings don't get frittered away in the same way as the teachings of others have got frittered away. And Sariputta, and of course later Sangiti took place and all that, Sangayan hua, wo sab hua. But Sariputta probably wouldn't know that this is going to happen in future. So he said, I'll encompass all teachings. सारे concept उसमें दिए हुए. तो मैंने भंते से कहा था कभी बैठ के उसको chant करेंगे. So we'll have to have a whole night up and then chant it in Pali and Hindi or me understand the meanings. It's such a wonderful thing. क्यों करना है वो सब? आप कहें क्या नाम रूप की बात कर, नाम रूपा तीन में तिस्सो वेदना, सुखद वेदना, दुखद वेदना, असुखद दुखद वेदना, then all things which are of groups of threes, for the sake of understanding and memory you put it. And then again for fours, चार सतिपट्ठान, चार इद्धिपाद, and all of that. पांच इंद्रियां, पांच बल, and so on. 8 Ashtangik Marg, and then other 8 things. Very marvelous way to remember, to remember all of them. And then you have the complete teaching of the Buddha at your tips. Because you are a meditator, you are a practitioner. Aapko agar yaad aa gaya ye word, then you know. If somebody says 4 Satipatthana, you know what it means. Finished. But at the particular moment when they are needed, you just forget. It's quite obvious, we know that. चार इद्धिपाद हम भूल जाते हैं क्या है. So he'll say this. छंद इद्धिपाद, वीर्य इद्धिपाद, सति इद्धिपाद, समाधि इद्धिपाद, चित्त इद्धिपाद, मीमांसा इद्धिपाद. 4 हो गए. बस आपको इतना याद रखना है. क्योंकि आपको मालूम है सब. छंद क्या होता है, वीर्य क्या होता है, चित्त क्या होता है, मीमांसा क्या होता है, लेकिन भूल जाते हैं. So that's the idea of those kind of recitations. So recitation again and again is a very important thing. And fortunately, हमारी जो book है उसमें majority of them are suttas, extracts from suttas, and they're so helpful, so helpful. So ये हमारे जो भिक्षु लोग हैं, senior भिक्षु, they remember whole of it, but all the paritas together from heart they recite. Even at 87, Luangpo Sumedho remembers all of that. That has a value. When they do Pindapat and we serve them, then they chant the blessing, that whole Yathavari Vahapujas, everything, they remember it. The morning chanting, evening chanting, they don't look at book, they don't by heart. Everything is known by heart. Because it's a great reflection. All of the chanting is a reflection on the practice. तो हम जितना उसको समझने का प्रयास करेंगे, उसके मतलब को फिर चैंट करेंगे, तो आपको बहुत अच्छा लगेगा, बहुत अच्छा लगेगा। I can assure you. Let's do that. It's a part of tradition, and we need not be shy of accepting it's a part of tradition. Well, it's a good thing.